Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Hey there.
Today we are cracking open a world that exists way, way beneath the surface. It's a place where, the rule of law is completely gone. It's replaced by something much more primal.
A law of the jungle, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the center of it is this military unit that isn't built on patriotism or ideology. It's built on pure, distilled, high-value criminality. We are talking about the clandestine organization known only as the Dark Forces.
That's right. And our mission in this deep dive is, well, it's essentially a forensic analysis. We're going to look at the structure, the operational methods of this unit, the DF.
And we've got some incredible source material to do it.
We do. We're looking at documents that detail their entire process, specifically their terrifying recruitment protocols that target the absolute worst of society.
Right.
And then there's the use of these highly experimental, highly lethal chemical enhancements. They call them DF capsules internally.
But everyone else calls them death pills.
The death pills, yeah. And finally, the sheer psychological and physical meat grinder that is their training program, the under trials.
Okay, let's just jump right into that because the whole premise is, it's deeply shocking.
It is.
This is an underground military force that doesn't just, tolerate violence.
Mm-hmm.
They actively seek out the world's most effective, most violent criminals and give them a single, horrifying choice.
A choice that isn't really a choice at all.
Not at all. It's either you're executed for your confirmed crimes or you serve the Dark Forces.
Mm-hmm.
It's non-consensual service at its most extreme, but they dress it up as this grotesque second chance.
And the sources we're looking at, they give us this incredible granular insight through the experiences of two specific recruits.
Right.
It's a terrifyingly detailed view into the operational engine of the Dark Forces, and it allows us to analyze their methods not as, outside observers, but through the eyes of the people being processed.
So our entry point, our sort of learner's gateway into this dark world is a woman named Emery Maves. She's only 24, and she already has this chilling moniker, the Severance Executioner.
And her background is just, it's wild. It's rooted in extreme wealth, extreme power. She was used to this very methodical, silent kind of killing for the Mavistelli black market family on the West Coast.
So to really get the scope of her criminality, you have to understand what the Mavistelli network was.
Exactly. They weren't just, moving drugs or simple contraband. This was the sophisticated underworld of illegal black market technology, sensitive corporate information, digital espionage, high-stakes stuff.
And Emery's role as the Severance Executioner.
Mm-hmm.
What did that mean exactly?
It meant she was their solution, their cleanup crew for men who double-crossed the family in those deals.
Wow.
And she had 10 confirmed murders over 4 years. She started operating as her father's executioner when she was 16. 16. So you have this highly controlled, methodical killer who is suddenly kidnapped from federal custody and just thrown into this chaotic, unpredictable military survival scenario. It's a total paradigm shift for her.
And then, contrasting so sharply with Emery, we have Cameron Morey. He's 27.
Yeah, Maury's a different beast entirely.
He's not a new recruit. He's what the documents call an expert anomaly who's already deep inside the DF.
He's highly effective, maybe one of their most lethal assets, but he is critically flawed.
What's the flaw?
His major problem is this: compulsion, almost a tic. He kills every single direct partner he's assigned.
Every single one. How is he still operational?
We'll get into that. But it isn't just random violence. The sources trace this flaw all the way back to severe, crippling abandonment issues.
From childhood.
Yeah. Early childhood trauma. His mother left him at a school for bad children and later even attempted to kill him. So his ability to form attachments is just catastrophically unstable.
And on top of all that psychological damage, he's also part of their chemical program.
Oh, he's the star of their chemical program. He's been the subject of extreme and extended chemical experimentation for 3 years, which is a fact that both makes him invaluable to them and, massively accelerates his psychological instability.
The initial shock factor then, especially for someone like Emery Maves, it must come from that dissonance, her whole origin story.
Absolutely. The sources say she's from the wealthiest family on the West Coast. General Nolan, the DF recruiter, even highlights this when he meets her. He says he wasn't expecting someone with her pristine upbringing and calculated background to be so proficiently violent. She just doesn't fit the profile.
Not the typical death row inmate you'd expect.
Not at all. And that's the first major sign of just how far the Dark Forces' reach goes. Emery is in a federal prison awaiting her sentence, and her extraction is handled with staggering efficiency.
Kidnapped from her cell.
At 3 a.m., and the warden and the head guard are there, they literally watch the entire operation unfold while smoking cigars and just looking away.
So it's not a jailbreak.
Yeah.
It's a sanctioned abduction.
It is. It's a high-level, professional kidnapping executed with the complete cooperation of the very structures that are supposed to be enforcing the law.
Which raises the question, if the DF has this level of infiltration and they view these criminals as essential tools, why go through all that effort? Why not just recruit them in a less complicated way?
Because they need a very specific type of asset, an untraceable one. The DF is trafficking in the irredeemable, but they need these assets completely, totally severed from their past lives.
And having the warden look the other way ensures that.
It ensures zero paper trail and instant public closure. They pull her out of a death sentence, sure, but they place her into an environment that is a guaranteed death sentence for almost everyone else. And in the process, they get a weapon that society doesn't even know exists anymore.
So let's move into the core identity of this organization. Based on these internal documents, what exactly are the dark forces?
The documents define them with this chilling, almost self-aware brutality. They are a disposable, underground military unit. That's the key word, disposable.
They exist for missions that no government would ever publicly admit to.
Right. Internally, the soldiers describe themselves as tools wielded by the true devils.
Oh.
And broken weapons swept beneath the rug when our expiration date comes around. They know what they are. They understand their own mortality. Their entire purpose is to be expendable.
And the recruitment protocol itself. It's so targeted.
Yes.
Emery Maves was a high-value criminal with a unique skill set.
Not just a murderer, no. A methodical executioner of high-value targets. That's a very different thing.
And General Nolan's extraction method. It's just pure shock and awe.
It is. Soldiers in black tactical gear throw the recruit to the ground, gag them, hogtie them. It's designed to immediately establish dominance and erase any sense of control.
And this feeds directly into their operational secrecy, the public image management.
Immediately, recruits are declared deceased to society. Emery is explicitly told, quote, "You hung yourself in your cell," before they even transport her.
And that achieves two things, right?
It does. First, complete severance from their past life. It's gone. And second, it eliminates any need for accountability. No one is coming to look for them. The soldier literally ceases to exist to the outside world. They become an exclusive asset of the DF.
But Nolan offers this twisted incentive. He calls it the promise of rebirth.
Yeah, this is the psychological hook. He shows Emery a piece of paper with the word rebirth and a barcode on it. He promises cards to freedom after she successfully serves the DF. It's framed as this opportunity to eventually have a second chance at a normal life.
But it's a lie.
It's the critical psychological leverage, but it's entirely conditional. The text describes Nolan's grin as making Emery's skin crawl. That's your first clue that deception is at play here.
And the trials themselves are designed to kill almost everyone.
Right. The sources repeatedly emphasize that both Maury and Maves face elimination at multiple stages. Soldiers face death on every mission, so this hope of cards to freedom is just a behavioral modification tool.
It's something to dangle in front of them.
Exactly. As Maury, the veteran, puts it, a lot of soldiers eventually, like staying here in the shadows permanently, either they realize freedom is a lie, or, more likely, they become too damaged to ever go back. Nolan weaponizes hope against people who have none left.
This context really eliminates Emery's past and how she was sort of perfectly molded for this.
It does. She was the severance executioner, disposing of men who double-crossed her father, Gregory Mavistelli, in the high-tech black market.
And her father trained her for this life.
He trained her extensively, how to operate boats, airplanes, helicopters. But she notes it was never for her own escape. It was always so she could be his pilot, his driver. Always ancillary to his business.
Her life always came second.
It cemented that feeling, yeah. And the ultimate betrayal, of course, is when her father sells her out to the feds for a plea deal. He throws her under the bus as a scapegoat.
So that sense of abandonment is what drives her in the trials.
It's a core driver. She is now fighting only for herself for the first time in her life.
The sources also mention this unique coping mechanism she had, her flair.
Oh, this is a fascinating detail. She found a morbid solace in turning the ugly, chaotic aftermath of her kills into something thought-provoking or artistic.
So not just killing, but staging.
Calculated presentation. Maury later recognizes her style as morbidly enthralling. It was her attempt to regain some kind of control and purpose in a life she didn't choose.
Like marking victims with pink X's or positioning the bodies?
Yeah, the sources detail one scene, the moth escaping a cocoon, where she arranged a body to make a statement about the victim's failed attempt to escape her father's clutches. And that artistic flair, ironically, is what makes her such a desirable recruit for the DF. They value that kind of psychological distinctiveness.
That focus on psychological distinctiveness leads us right into the really disturbing heart of the dark forces, the chemical enhancements.
Yeah, Section 3.
This experimental program uses these highly valuable killers as literal test rats.
Guinea pigs. For supplements, weapons, and training protocols that are actually intended for upstairs government forces. They are treating these living weapons as disposable biological assets for external R&D.
And the centerpiece of this entire program is the death pills.
Officially, the DF capsules. Their function is designed to create the ultimate enhanced soldier.
How so?
They dull all pain. They enhance vision, speed, overall performance. Mori describes them very simply. They help him see better, run faster, do everything well better. They're physiologically transformative.
But the cost is astronomical, hence the nickname death pills.
It's very apt. Mori confirms they kill most soldiers who try to use them within a mere 48 hours. The physiological shock, the unknown chemical interactions, it's just too much for the average human body to handle.
Which brings us back to Cameron Mori and his profound biological anomaly.
He is the anomaly. He has survived and in some ways thrived on this medication for 3 full years.
3 years.
He shows a positive response, somehow stabilizing these highly lethal compounds in a way the researchers couldn't predict. That's what makes him so invaluable to General Nolan. Despite his clear mental instability, he is their walking, breathing proof of concept.
But he is paying an immense price for it, physically and mentally. Let's get into the specifics of these side effects. What's the physical toll on a long-term user like Mori?
Oh, the physical damage is relentless. He suffers from frequent debilitating bloody noses, near physical collapse from even moderate overuse.
I read his hair changed color.
Yeah, the drugs affected his pigment, turned his naturally blonde hair into a ruffled, pale white, and maybe the most gruesome detail. He has this visible scar from where Lieutenant Eric slashed his eye in a sparring match.
Right.
And because of the pain-dulling chemicals, the sclera, the white part of his eye, sometimes just bleeds freely, even during a casual conversation. And he can't feel it. It's this constant, visible reminder of his chemical dependence.
But the mental toll, that's what truly defines him as a DF weapon. His fatal flaw.
That's it. The pills don't just enhance him. They make him, in his own words, fucking crazy.
And this is the key insight into the DF strategy.
It is. The chemical enhancement guarantees psychological fragmentation. His long-standing, deep-seated abandonment issues, that fear of being left, of being replaced, it merges explosively with the drug-induced mania.
And the result is that uncontrollable impulse to kill his partners.
Exactly.
We see this play out right away in the source material. In the prologue, he kills his partner, Titan.
Yeah, that scene is horrific. Mori is found covered in blood, holding Titan's severed head, and he can't even recall the exact moment he did it. The chemical fugue erased the act itself, leaving only the bloodied aftermath and this residual guilt.
So instead of trying to fix him, Nolan just uses it.
Nolan sees this instability as a feature, not a bug. They just need to manage who he kills. The goal is to make him the ultimate weapon.
So they escalate his treatment.
They do. Mori is scheduled for a new series of injections. They're intended to be a huge improvement when combined with the pills he's already taking. Nolan is trying to find the perfect chemical balance to harness the violence without completely destroying the asset.
And this chemical cocktail, it reaches its peak right before the final trial.
Which leads to the ultimate catastrophe. General Nolan, in this last-ditch effort, administers a final experimental serum, they call it Trial, 3 moments before the last challenge.
And the stated goal was stability.
That was the idea, to test if mental coherence could be maintained alongside these massive physical enhancements. Instead, it proves immediately disastrously wrong.
What happens?
Mori instantly enters a full psychotic fugue state. His vision goes red, his thoughts are frantic, he is driven solely by these primal violent impulses. The DF creates the very monster they claimed they were trying to stabilize.
The terrifying thing here is that Mori's survival seems to hinge on him embracing the very madness they're trying to manage. They are actively weaponizing his trauma and his addiction.
That's the system.
Okay, now we get into the under-trials. The crucible that forges these shattered people into elite operational assets.
This is where they filter the expendable recruits into viable weapons, but the environment itself, it's pure torture.
The sources call it the Under.
It's an isolated underground base near Alaska. It's designed to enforce total self-sufficiency and absolute ruthlessness. The basic conditions are punitive.
Like what?
Cold showers, extreme darkness, described as the darkest night you'll ever know, and this constantly enforced awareness that the casualty rate is going to be astronomical.
And the rules, or lack thereof, reflect that.
The primary rule of survival is terrifyingly simple. There are almost no rules at all. The document says, quote, "The underground soldiers don't have many rules to abide by, so deaths are common, bullying is prevalent, harassment, you name it."
So it's a free-for-all.
It's a Darwinian experiment. The expected death rate for the trials is so high that they only expect a handful at best to make it to the final squads. They aren't training an army, they're running an elimination contest.
But there's this hidden threat that keeps them all in line, the thing that prevents anyone from just walking away.
That's the critical detail. Recruits are implanted with hidden trackers in their necks, and General Nolan confirms these aren't just GPS beacons.
They're bombs.
They're explosive devices. They will be instantly detonated if a recruit tries to leave the designated boundaries or fails to comply. They are literally walking bombs owned and controlled by the dark forces. Desertion is not an option.
The trials start immediately and violently. Trial 1 is called the Purge.
A very apt name.
The objective is just immediate elimination of the majority. They want to drop the number from 101 down to 50 survivors in a single brutal night.
And the logistics are engineered for pure chaos and desperation. They're blindfolded during transport to maximize disorientation. They're given minimal gear.
Just black tactical gear, a mask, and a knife.
Right. And Emery gets that distinctive skull mask, which immediately starts building her new identity. The moment the countdown ends, there's no training, no maneuvering, just survival. Cadets just start tearing into each other with knives.
Maury, already chemically primed and unstable, he just goes for it.
He engages instantly, kills a target quickly. But Emery Maves, despite her initial terror, she adapts. She draws on that cold, methodical past of hers.
She has that thought. If it's me or them, I'm choosing me.
And she does. She executes a man with a knife through the heart. It proves the trial isn't about strength or skill, not really. It's about the willingness to commit cold-blooded murder against a peer for self-preservation.
And all this is happening in the freezing Alaskan wilderness.
The environment itself is hostile. Cold, snow, frigid air. Maury even has to shoot a cougar at one point. It's just another enemy.
Trial 2 then shifts the objective dramatically. It becomes about squad formation.
And clandestine advantage, yeah. After the purge, the survivors have to form squads and fight to retrieve weapons. The goal is to end up on one of the 4 main squads: Fury, Riot, Malum.
So this is where tactical alliances become everything.
And this trial provides the critical context for the relationship between Maury and Maves.
How so?
Maury sees that Maves relies on methodical, silent gun kills. That's her strength as an executioner. But he forces her to broaden her skill set. He trains her rigorously in close-quarters combat and how to anticipate attacks based on hearing alone, especially for fighting in total darkness.
So it's a skill exchange. But Maves brings her own intellectual advantage to the table.
She really does. She uses her intelligence like a weapon. Instead of just relying on physical training, she spends her limited free time in the base library.
There's a library.
A surprisingly well-stocked one. She studies human anatomy pressure points, fatal flaws like the temporal artery junction, places where less strength can achieve lethal results. She also learns survival techniques, like making rope from spruce roots. She's incredibly resourceful.
And that resourcefulness helps her form her own squad.
She links up with Bree and Damien, who are initially suspicious of her, and eventually Bryce, the poison expert. And this is where we learn something fascinating about the DF.
Which is what?
Cheating is rewarded.
Really?
Maury confirms it. He tells her the DF rewards risky behavior. It shows initiative and ruthlessness.
And Maves immediately uses that information.
Instantly, she sneaks into the armory, uses her technical knowledge, and steals specialized high-grade equipment. An ACE-32 assault rifle with a suppressor, upgraded vests. She equips her whole squad for success.
Because the DF doesn't want obedient soldiers, they want survivors.
Calculating effective survivors willing to bend or break any rule to get an advantage.
And at the same time, this relationship between Maury and Maves is evolving.
It's moving far beyond a simple training alliance. It goes from a captive killer dynamic where he's constantly threatening her to this intense, intimate bond.
Driven by shared trauma and fear.
Exactly, and it's cemented when they become vulnerable with each other. Maves confesses her anxiety about Maury's instability, her fear that the pills will make him turn on her like he did Titan.
And Maury opens up to her.
He does. He shares these deeply vulnerable things about his fear of being useless because of the side effects, the psychological damage. He even tells her about his long-forgotten dream of being a history professor.
Wow, from ultimate weapon to history professor.
It's a shocking contrast. And that emotional exchange establishes the central conflict for him. If he fails to control his instability, he knows he will destroy the one good thing he's found in this hell.
And that conflict sets the stage for the final act of the trials.
Trial 3, the ultimate test.
A manhunt. The remaining 12 cadets pitted directly against each other. And this is where it all collapses, physically and psychologically.
Maves goes into this final trial already severely compromised.
Right, she fell off a cliff.
She has a painful leg wound, a throbbing shoulder injury, multiple scrapes. She's running on fumes and sheer willpower. And to survive, Maury forces her to take the death pills.
Her first time.
Her first time. And the effect is immediate and consequential. The pain vanishes, and she experiences this sudden euphoric high. Her vision sharpens, she can see in the dark.
But that relief comes at a terrible price.
It's her first conscious chemical dependence on the lethal DF capsules. She is now chemically bound to the very system that has enslaved them both.
And then comes Maury's breakdown, the final experimental serum.
Under the influence of Nolan's new serum, the one meant to ensure stability, Maury enters that fully manic red vision state. He loses all control, reverts to pure primal violence.
He murders another cadet.
Brutally, he murders a female cadet, leaves her ribcage spread open with his knife buried in her mouth. It's a horrifying, savage display, a terrifying echo of Maves's own flair, but born of pure chemical psychosis.
And in that state, he almost kills Maves.
He pins her down and strikes her head with a rock, the one person he cares about.
But he snaps out of it.
The aftermath is where the true analysis is. He snaps out of the fugue state, and he's instantly horrified. He feels this intense, gut-wrenching emotional trauma. He says it's the most pain I've felt in years.
Because the drugs dull physical pain, but not this.
Not the guilt of nearly killing her. He just shouts, "I'm a fucking monster!"
It's the ultimate psychological violation, and Nolan just appears.
Nolan appears, completely unfazed by the carnage, and declares that both of them have passed the final trial.
But he mentions Maeve's memory of the attack is gone.
Partially erased, he says, due to the morphine in her system.
And that becomes her new name.
That's her new code name, morphine. The DF uses chemical amnesia to process trauma. Her previous identity, Emery, is gone. The worst parts of her initiation have been chemically scrubbed, ensuring she is a perfectly functional, compliant, and now chemically dependent weapon for their new squad.
The Fury Squad.
Maury and Maves, the executioner and the killer. They are the perfect, if unstable, products of this system.
So with the trials over and the trauma managed, they're immediately integrated into the Dark Forces structure. They're assigned to the Fury Squad.
Right, and the Fury Squad is led by Lieutenant Eric,
who has a history with Maury.
A significant one. Eric is Maury's mentor and, in a really twisted way, his father figure. He's also the man who gave Maury that distinctive eye scar in a sparring match years ago.
So it's a complicated relationship.
Very. But the squad is tight-knit. Veterans like Thomas, Gage, Caden, they accept Maves, now morphine, pretty quickly. They recognize her lethal skill set and the unique circumstances of her arrival. They are now a fully stabilized, hyper-lethal unit.
But Maury's core conflict,
yeah,
it doesn't just go away, it just changes form.
Exactly. His genuine love for Emery makes him acutely vulnerable, and he recognizes that immediately. He notes that when she said she cared about me, it caused him this intense internal crisis.
Because his existence is a threat to her.
He knows it. He knows his own chemical instability, his compulsion to kill his partners. So he makes this heartbreaking, calculated choice. He reverts to an extremely cold, closed-off persona after the final trial.
Pushing her away to protect her.
It's self-imposed emotional distance as a survival mechanism for her. He says it clearly, the more closed off I am, the safer she will be. He believes his affection is a lethal liability, and coldness is his only way to protect her from the monster inside him.
And Maeve's new identity is morphine
Mm.
that solidifies her transformation.
It's the final stage. She has the memory loss, the chemical dependency, and this fundamental shift in her personality.
Her core skills are still there.
Oh, yeah, her executioner skills are intact and highly valued. But the previous weight of her trauma, her methodical calculation, it's been replaced by this morbidly comedic personality.
A coping mechanism.
Likely a residual coping mechanism, yeah, amplified by the drugs. She's functional, she's lethal, but she is now fundamentally damaged in a way that makes her perfectly suited for the DF's detached violence.
And finally, there's this profound, unraveling mystery that suggests a deeper level of betrayal. It connects her past directly to the dark forces.
This comes from Bryce, the poison expert from her temporary squad.
His dying words.
Right. As he's dying, he whispers these fragmented words to Emery about her father, Gregory Mavistelli. He asks, who's going to what? And desperately tries to say, they're going to Fury.
Which suggests a shocking possibility.
That her father didn't just abandon her or sell her out to save his own skin. He may have used the dark forces for his own ends, or even set her up for a reason tied directly to the Fury squad, the very squad she has now joined.
So her recruitment wasn't random at all. It was targeted for a specific purpose connected to her father.
Since Bryce was an earlier recruit, his specialized knowledge implies that Diovaselli had contact, maybe even a contract, with the Mavistelli family long before Emery's public capture. It links her recruitment and placement directly to her father's shadowy underworld dealings.
So the dark forces might actually be mercenaries for the super-rich criminal underworld.
It raises that possibility, that they operate as an enforcement arm for ultra-wealthy, globally influential crime lords like Gregory Mavistelli. Emery Maves isn't just a recruit. She's a pawn in a much, much larger global game of betrayal.
Wow. This has been a deep, dark dive into the brutal recruitment, chemical refinement, and psychological conditioning process of the dark forces.
It's a chilling look at how trauma, addiction, and extreme violence are systematically weaponized to create agents capable of this detached carnage.
I think we can synthesize the core findings of this operation into a few key takeaways for you, the learner.
Yeah, 3 vital nuggets of knowledge to carry forward.
Okay, nugget 1. The dark forces doesn't eliminate psychological flaws. It harnesses them.
It redirects them. Maury's profound, crippling, murderous impulse, born from his abandonment issues and accelerated by the pills, it's not cured, it's not managed through therapy, it's simply focused.
No one in the DF structure just makes sure that impulse is redirected away from his partner and amplified against the enemy.
Making him more effective, yeah, but also catastrophically unstable and, on a very short leash. The flaw becomes the feature.
Nugget 2. Chemical enhancement, while it provides undeniable physical superiority.
Dulling pain, increasing speed, sharpening vision.
It's fundamentally a death sentence. It guarantees psychological fragmentation and eventual physical death for almost everyone who tries it.
Right. Maury's 3-year survival is a total anomaly, a testament to his unique biology. But the chemical dependency is now irreversible for both him and Maves. It's trapped them in this cycle of chemically induced violence and dependence.
And nugget 3. In this underground world, concepts like friendship and alliance are just tactical maneuvers.
They're used to increase personal survival odds. We saw it with Maves' squad. They formed quickly out of necessity, shared secrets, exploited the armory to get an advantage.
Yeah, it fell apart.
And even genuine camaraderie, like the bond between Maury and Maves, is fundamentally transactional. It's a desperate attempt to share trauma in an environment where true loyalty is instantly punished.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to consider.
Given that the Dark Forces deliberately turns these highly dangerous, highly damaged criminals into ultimate weapons capable of unfelt carnage, what ethical cost does a society pay for that kind of outsourced, detached violence?
Especially when those organizations might be subcontracted by powerful, wealthy figures like Gregory Mavistelli.
And then more personally for the soldiers, can true rebirth, those elusive cards to freedom, can that ever be achieved by a weapon who must continuously betray their own humanity and consciousness just to survive?